Hello, good people of YouTube, Mountbatten here. And before we get started, I just want to say I am desperately in need of getting over my allergies right now. So I may sound a little nasally, a little congested, a little messed up. It started to kick in yesterday. I'm sure you guys probably noticed I sounded a bit weird in yesterday's video. But that's what's going on. I thought I'd get over them in a couple of days. Turns out allergies said, no, screw you. You're going to get this for like the rest of the week. But anyways, you can tell by the title of today's video, we are talking about what is very likely, in my opinion, to become the next rare, extremely sought after Tier 9 premium ship, which is the Musashi, the Tier 9 Japanese, well, it used to be free XP ship, actually came in and replaced the Missouri. And, well, the Musashi is obviously quite different from the Missouri in many ways. First off, of course, it's Japanese. But the Musashi doesn't have the insane economy of the Missouri, of course. The Missouri's economy is a one-off and is soon to be an even rarer one-off as the Missouri is coming back in for purchase, which I said and I still believe is a little strange. I'm sure Wargaming will make a nice stack of cash off of the Missouri for the I don't know however long it's going to be back for. The way it's worded in the news article, it sounds like it's going to be back just for the event, but it wouldn't surprise me if they leave her around for a little while longer. And I say that because, as many of you know, and I've talked about this before, when it comes time for Christmas and the Christmas containers come out, the Missouri is often touted in news articles, on their Facebook page, on their, whatever social media page that Wargaming is on. They tout that you can get the Missouri in the Christmas containers. Now, since that golden laying goose has been essentially shot, I'm a firm believer that Musashi is now going to take that place. And they often did include Musashi in those Facebook posts or social media posts with the Missouri, but Missouri's always got the front page cover of it, of course. But with that gone, I'm pretty sure Musashi is going to be replacing her for, of course, money reasons. Wargaming obviously want to make money. Musashi's been removed for quite some time. Now, why in the world would you want a Musashi? Well, it doesn't have the economy of the Missouri. It's not as an historically significant ship as the Missouri. I mean, Musashi is most definitely a very well-known historical ship, but World War II ended on the decks of the Missouri, and the Missouri served for decades afterwards, so she's been around for quite some time. In fact, there's crew members of the Missouri playing this game. I know as they've commented on my post, they're very happy that they get to play the ship that they served on in real life in this game, and I think that's pretty freaking cool. But anyway, the Musashi. She is, of course, a Yamato-class battleship. Where she differs is that she is the early war outfit of the Yamato class, and the Yamato, the Tier 10 Japanese battleship, is the late war fit of the Yamato class. So what does that mean? This means that the Musashi, as you can tell from the footage playing in front of you right now, she does not have that mountain of AA and secondary guns on her sides, on the sides of her superstructure. She has the original, I think they're 155 triple turrets on either side. And including that, she also does not get the same accuracy of the Yamato. The Yamato has 2.1 sigma, the Musashi has 1.8 sigma, which that's a big downstep from the usual Yamato accuracy. But why? Well, because she's at Tier 9. Yamato's at Tier 10, Musashi's at Tier 9. Which that is why so many players want to get the Musashi. Because you can potentially be top tier in Tier 7 games. Pretty good deal, right? You get 9 18-inch guns in Tier 7 games. Which means you can bully the crap out of Tier 7 ships, right? Sure. On the surface, that sounds like a pretty good deal. And if it happens, I mean, yeah, sure. You got 18-inch guns firing at Tier 7 ships. That's great, right? Well, I'm going to tell you guys, honestly, in practice, not really. Because the way Matchmaker's been changed, you don't get to be top tier a lot in Tier 9 anymore. Most of the times, you will either be in a straight tier 9 game, or maybe if you play at some lower activity times, like really late in the night or really early in the morning, you might find yourself top tier in tier 7 games every now and then. While it's true that tier 7 gets up tier to tier 9 a lot more now than it used to, tier 9 is more often up tier to tier 10, or it's just stuck at tier 9. For example, when I was playing this morning to get this footage, I was playing around 8 o'clock in the morning, as I usually do during the summer. I played from 8 in the morning to about 12 in the afternoon, just like with the Zao video from yesterday. And out of the 8 games that I played during this time period when I was recording, I had one tier 7 game, and you're watching it right now. And you might be hard pressed to find the tier 7 ships. There's two per side. They got a Colorado and a Hyuga, and we got a Leon and a Duke of York. That's it. That's the tier 7 game. Oh, and I think we have an Atlanta too, but I think they managed to get a tier 8 cruiser in its place. So yeah, this is the tier 7 game where I'm fighting an FTG and an Ism and a Chappie on my side, which, yeah, great. But anyway, even if you do get in a tier 7 game where there are plenty of tier 7 ships, you want to know what's going to happen in that tier 7 game. Yamato players know. Just going to overmatch everything. I'm sorry, overpin everything. Yeah, you're going to overmatch everything for sure, but you're going to overpin everything. Unless it's a really chunky battleship like a Colorado, or another American battleship, or maybe one of the Soviet tier 7 battleships, you can overmatch it, overpin it. Yamato does this with tier 10 ships. You know, all of the matches that you see of Yamato doing like insane salvos, those are like those 1 in 20 matches that you get, you know, once a week when you do fantastically well. Most of the time, and most Yamato players, most truthful Yamato players would tell you this, you just overpin the crap out of everything. You get that 1480 damage roll more often than anything. Every now and then, sure, ship sails broadside onto you, they angle just right, you get a big hit. But most of the time it's overpinned. Now, multiply that by going up against tier 7 armor, and you can see where I'm coming from. Now, when this ship came out, it was, yeah, I think this is still before they started cranking the price up. This was still a 750,000 free XP ship. Was it worth it back then? Me personally, if I wasn't doing this for the channel, I wouldn't have picked it up. But I can certainly see how this would have appealed to someone back in the day. 750,000 free XP, pick up this ship, and now you got a tier 9 Yami that you can go bully some tier 8s with. Sure, fine, whatever. 750 free XP. And this was a pretty easy to get ship because they introduced her right when they started to introduce a lot of these insane booster flags. So she wasn't the most difficult ship to acquire. So yeah, sure, back then, fine. But nowadays, when you gotta gamble your money away to try and get her in a Christmas container and potentially spend $700,000 to get her, no. Especially with the way matchmaking's been changed. And do you really want to play a Yamato without AA now? Like, think about that. This thing doesn't have any AA. Its A rating is pitiful for tier 9. You have to be with something with good AA to keep a carrier off you. To keep a tier 6 carrier off of you, you got to be something with good AA. You do not really want to do that, in my opinion at least. So the PSA in the first half of this video is just don't get this ship in the Christmas containers. Don't be going to try and get it in the Christmas containers. Like, if you get it out of whatever RNG you somehow managed to get in a random container around Christmas time, sure, great. It's a good ship. I'm not trying to tell you guys it's not. I'm just saying it's not worth it. But don't go throwing your holiday money away at these containers trying to get this ship. Just go grind a Yamato and buy the premium camo. You'll do just fine there. I promise you. Yamato's more accurate, has the AA to deal with, well, not by itself, but has more AA than this thing has for sure. And is all around a better ship, in my opinion. So that's my message to you guys right there. However, this match I had, it does a very good job of showing what can happen when everything just falls in the right place with the Musashi. I know you guys are probably just saying, you show us not to buy it. Yes, but this was a pretty good match, and we're going to go through the rest of the video talking about this match. So if you were just here for the PSA part, goodbye. I do encourage you to stick around. That was a pretty darn good match for the rest of it. So anyway, right now, as you can see, all our DDs are dead, Enemy team's got 2 of the caps. My team's not really wanting to capture this D cap, and I'm dealing with this chappie in front of me, and he's doing a decent job with throttle juking. So I aim my shells forward a little bit, and bingo, bango, bongo, we hit him in his citadel and get a devastating strike on him. And I do have Yamamoto on the ship, as I'm sure you guys saw at the beginning when I flashed up the commander and module build. Oh, that's another thing too. Musashi doesn't get the legendary module, unique upgrade, whatever they call it now, that the Yamato gets. So you have even less accuracy than the Yamato. But I do have the reload module on, so I do have a 26-second base reload on the Musashi, which is pretty good. And it's what I normally would run on the Yamato if the legendary module just wasn't so good. So now we've got the Chappie taken care of, but you can tell in the West is not doing very good right now. And over here, we don't have any DDs. Well, we don't have any DDs on the map anywhere because all our DDs are dead. But the Palmer that was running away turned around and came back, and now he's pushing down south with me, which is, again, just amazing. The normal teams that I get during this time normally don't do this. Izumo backs out in front of me, broadside on, which is a very bad idea to do against any battleship, let alone a Musashi or a Yamato. So I take 20k off of him right there. Palmer's pushing with me, so I got another ship there. Plus, I got the AA of the Palmer. Now, Palmer's AA isn't that great, but when combined with the Musashi's mediocre AA, we have kind of okay AA, especially against tier 8 CVs. And there we go, Citadel on the Izumo, and he is gone. So now we've managed to wrangle the ships back into our favor. We're one ship ahead. Both of our CVs are still alive. We've got 3 BBs left, 2 carriers. They have a DD, a cruiser, 2 BBs, and their CV is, of course, still around. Now we have a Parswell. They have a Indomitable. Yes, I think it's one of those. Either the Indomitable or the Implacable. He hasn't been spotted yet, so I can't really take a look on the map and see. So right now, we've gone from someone commenting in chat that this is an assured loss, and now someone's saying, nice turnaround. It's really not over yet. We both have 2 caps. If you look out west, our team is pretty badly outnumbered. And plus, we have a Leon out west. We don't have a tier 8 or a tier 9 BB out there. So unfortunately, as good of a player as that Leon may be, he just can't take the firepower that something like an FDG and a Seattle and a Sims can throw at him by himself. Now, our Parzival, right around now, you may notice something about him in the next couple of minutes. Keep an eye on him. So, myself and the Palmer, and we are now sailing to the sea cap, because we may be ahead right now, but if you start losing ships like we very well may be about to do, we need those points to keep trickling in to keep our team in the fight. I did pop my spotter plane here. That's the thing about not having DDs and using the spotter. It's pretty tricky to know when to pop it, because that can happen. I popped him because I wanted to shoot at the Seattle, but unfortunately the Seattle's got unspotted right now. And you can see as the ships are firing, they're becoming spotted, their bloom's going down. So you can only really get 1 salvo off, and that's pretty hard to judge how you need to adjust your aim when you only get 1 salvo off and you can't see the ship anymore. Like, sure, you can blind fire and make some guesstimations, but it's easier to have the ship spotted there so you can dial in your aim. So take a pretty long shot at the FDG from 26 kilometers away. And I'm not one to really snipe a whole lot. I usually play the Yami and the Musashi kind of mid-ish range, not close range, of course. I used to play the Shikishima close range when they had the secondary build that was viable for it, but unfortunately that's not the case anymore. Sorry, I just sneezed. I should edit that out so I don't melt your eardrums. But anyway, so spotter runs out. Thankfully, the FTG is just inside of my stock range, so I can keep firing at him. Now, keep in mind, too, with the reload mod and the spotter, I pretty much cover the map with the freaking Musashi here. So you could take the range mod if you just really, really want to snipe. So here comes the, what is it, the Indomitable? Yes, the Indomitable, coming after the Palmer. Looks like he, misses there. Those gravity-defying bombs are kind of hard to leave. Oh, and there goes the Leon. Like I said, unfortunately, just no matter how good of a player you are, a tier 7 ship in a tier 9 game, it's just very, very, very frustrating. Alright, so the Indomitable gets spotted here of all things. Parzival snuck around. I don't know why he took the long way around the map. I guess he just really wanted to CV snipe. So, lining up my shot here on the Indomitable while I'm waiting for my turrets to catch up, because, good old Musashi and Yami turret rotation time is fantastic. That's sarcasm if you can't detect that through my allergies. So get a salvo off on him, and again, look at that dispersion. You get the Japanese BB dispersion with 1.8 Sigma with 9 guns. It's freaking rough. Get about 8k off of him there. Pretty good salvo there. So now, unfortunately, we are losing. We have 4 ships to the enemy's 5 ships. And right about now, that Parsol I told you to keep an eye on, he's either thrown in the towel and gone AFK, or he's lost connection. So he's just chilling there in the open ocean. Not even moving, not launching planes. Yeah. Love it when that happens. I'm going to give the guy the benefit of the doubt and just assume he disconnected. He didn't rage and chat or anything, so I'm just going to assume his internet conked out on him. Alright, so the Indomitable's coming back, but he's targeting me now. Of course, I have barely any AA, and there probably went about all my AA amounts right there. So, as we continue to sail south with this Palmer, look at this. We have the perfect cross shot going on right here, thankfully. We've got the Seattle, the Hyuga, and the FDG to choose from. Seattle's much closer. He's a cruiser, much bigger threat to what's left of my team. He needs to go down. So I try to Rainbow Six the shot through the crevasse here in the mountains, or gap of the mountains. I don't think that's really a crevasse. And unfortunately, I wasn't able to lead him enough because, of course, the mountains were blocking my shots. But I do tag him on the stern. Palmer gets a broadside off on the Seattle as the Indomitable comes back in with a rocket strike to hit the Palmer. Does a beautiful job there and takes out the Seattle. Wonderful. And now we got an FDG and a Hyuga. Now the Hyuga's armor scheme is, of course, not great, and there goes our Parzival. So now we're 3 BBs, 2 BBs with trash AA against a CV, 2 BBs, and a DD. Now, thankfully, being the Musashi does have the Yamato's torpedo protection, which is freaking fantastic. Got to sneeze again there. So I got that going for me, but I still would rather not eat a whole broadside of Sims torps like the Palmer unfortunately just did. Popped his radar there to prevent that happening anymore. His hydro there to prevent that from happening anymore. Still firing at the FDG because he's the only thing spotted at this moment. So right here, what we need to do is either sink some of their ships or cap all the caps. And the Sims, being a smart DD player, is in C now after torpedoing the Palmer. He's doing a great... Ooh, Citadel the FGG there. Good old plunging fire. Mwah. He's capping C now. He's not hunting us down because he realizes they don't need to kill us to win. They just need to maintain their points lead. If he can flip this cap fast enough, he can get that. But now we've managed to surpass them in points. So now they need to sink one of us. A full health Neptune or a very low health Palmer or Musashi with no... Ooh! Like I said, sometimes it lines up right, guys. But yeah, broadside Hyuga, 18-inch guns, easy thing for the Palmer to take for the Musashi to take care of. Like I said, when things line up on tier 7 ships, you can absolutely delete them, but you just don't get matches like this very often when you actually have tier 7 ships to sink. Palmer's down to 8,300 damage now, and we're down to 3 ships each. But they still have a CV, and they just capped the C cap. But now, thankfully, Palmer and myself are in the A cap, contesting it at least, which means we'll maintain our points lead. Plus, we sunk their Hyuga, so we got a pretty good pickup there. But it's not over. It's not over yet, ladies and gentlemen. FG's at 13k and closing in very rapidly to the cap. Our Palmer is still very low in terms of health. Also, I do have Yamamoto equipped, and I am at 4 kills. And Yamamoto's special second wind talent kicks in at 5 kills. Palmer's at FDG's at 400 health. Same pole as the Palmer. Get a salvo off on him. Although I am assuming that the Neptune will get the kill before I do, simply because his fire rate's so much higher and the dude's only at 400 health. However, I managed to nick him there, and there is second wind for Yamamoto. So now my reload speed just got cut in half on top of Adrenaline Rush, and I got a heal that heals up to 50% of the damage I've already taken, and now I have a 16-second reload in Musashi. Pretty freaking mental, let me tell ya. Yeah, 16-second reload. I love having the reload of a Zao and the Musashi. But 20 seconds left on the clock. I'm playing with my reload time here. Took a screenshot of that. And we thankfully managed to turn this around and get this game in the bag. Going from a match where our DDs simply ceased to... Oh, look, here comes the Sims out finally. get those guns out on him, and they don't get there before the match ends. But anyway, yeah, great turnaround from the team. Hats off to my team for keeping it together, not just throwing in the towel. Had a great team, sent them quite a few comps. Great team all around. Definitely would not have been able to do it without them, of course. Again, the Palmer that just came back down to take this southern flank with me. Just massive applause to you. That is so rare to see teammates that are willing to do that nowadays, especially with the way the meta is now. But before you go out and start typing and say, you just told us that the thing isn't worth it, but then you just showed us 233,000 5-kill Kraken game in your Musashi. What gives? Guys, that is literally the third time I've activated Yamamoto's second win talent. It's so hard to get, and I mostly run the Yamamoto on Yamato, Shikishima, and Musashi. But that's the third time I've actually managed to pop it and still be able to actually take advantage of it. Well, not really even really take advantage of it because the game was pretty much over by the time when I sunk that FDG. That's my once month 230k plus game. The ship, like I said, is good. And sure, if you do get in those right situations where you are top tier and it is a tier 7 game, you can bully tier 7 ships with it if you can get past the frustration of just overpinning everything. But still, the ship itself isn't worth throwing $700 to $1,000 at the game. Like, it's a good ship, again. Don't get me wrong, it's a good ship, but just save your money for something else. It's much more important things that you can buy in real life, or that money could be better spent elsewhere if you're determined to spend that much money on this game or on video games in general. But again, that's my recommendations and just my opinion on the ship. But anyway, guys, let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Hope you guys are having a wonderful Thursday. If you like the video, make sure to drop a like and subscribe to the channel. We're on the way to 30,000 subs. Just passed 27,400 yesterday, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm going to go fight these allergies now. Hope to see you guys in the next one.